And a good morning to you. Welcome inside the bottom line. Glad to have you here this morning. Pay homage one more time to my hero, Dick Buckus.
Hey, you look like
I like me some Buckus.
I can tell.
Always have.
Your haircut.
That's my daddy.
Your dad looked like Buckus too.
Yeah.
I saw that picture you put on there.
If you've seen me, you've seen my dad.
Bro,
that's the way
no
that
doubt
works.
about it.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
That's the way that works. Yep. A lot of people say that. Glad to have you with us this morning. Cool again this morning. Very nice outside. May get a little bit cooler as the week goes on. I think I saw this coming Sunday, highs only going to be around upper 60s from what I understand.
Fantastic.
Called a friend of mine that does shirts and told him his shirts were ready, and he said, well, I'm up in the mountains for this week. And I said, well, you're really getting some nice weather then. And he is.
Brian and Connie, Brian Long and Connie, his wife, they went up this weekend and they said it was nice and cool.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
very cool.
That's what you want. That's what you want. That's what you want.
That's nice.
Milton, good morning. Richie, good morning. Richie said the Bears defense channeled some Butkus against Washington on Thursday. Now, I'm sure that was mentioned before they took the field, and should be, rightly so.
You look at the Bears, and of course, the first thing everybody thinks is dysfunction. Oh, why they when you look at those players, for whatever reason, there's just not a lot of continuity. But it looks like that's starting to take hold a little bit.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and here's the thing, and I've said this over and over. For some reason, and I hear the talking heads talk about this all the time. Chicago in the modern era. When I say modern era, I'm talking when they merged, mid-'60s. Okay?
Right.
Chicago Bears have been irrelevant, but one time, and that was the 85, 86 Bears.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They've never been that powerhouse franchise everybody wants them to be, but they're not. I mean, that's just another one. And I've said that for years about Tennessee. Tennessee doesn't have a laundry list of NCAA football championships.
Oh, yeah. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Florida's the same way.
Right,
if it wasn't for Spurrier, Spurrier's kind of what put them on the map in Florida. So there's not. And I'll say, go ahead and get that out there. Clemson is not one of those that's had championships forever and ever. There are only a few, the Texas, the Oklahoma, the Alabamas, those have Southern Cal. Those are the ones you think about. And then when you get to the NFL, the Bears, even though that's a great franchise, it's one everybody can identify with, they've never had that much success as a franchise. And they've got great ownership.
Yeah.
The Hallis family, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
The Giants are another one. You know, the Maras have had them. And then up until, a couple of years ago, the Buffalo Bills had the same owner forever and ever.
Yeah.
The guy that passed away that owned Denver, that was another one. But the Bears, it's one of those things to where you only remember the things that you want to remember. But the Bears have been around forever in NFL football, but just not been as – Cleveland Browns were dominant before the merger. You know what I'm saying? That was another franchise that was really good.
5 years in the past 40 that they've been really, really, really good.
Yeah.
And could just never get that one Super Bowl win in and, to maybe have, some continued momentum. It's just interesting. It's kind of like, the whole thing with Sean Payton saying those things about, the former head coach at Denver. Of course, he is now, when he was an analyst. And then, that coming kind of, everybody playing that narrative. Yeah, and he was kind of trying to play it down. But, I don't know, man. Does that mess up Peyton's legacy at all? Does it scar it at all with what he said and how he, went about that? The media was really, really, really trying to play that hard, Lanny. And I say the media in general, I mean, it's, it's not just discussion. I mean, it's out there. It's almost like there's talking points that go with it, and it's almost like they're trying to bring another coach down. I don't know, man. This,
you see this. You see this button on this side of the mouse, the left one. That's what people's looking for. Clicks.
Oh,
that's all. They don't care if it's real, made up, whatever it is. They're looking for clicks.
So, but the point of that is the lasting effects and the fact that people feed into that. Eventually, what you eat on, you die on. Okay, if it's not good for you, if it's not pure, right? I mean, you either you either take food, you either use food as your medicine, or medicine's going to end up being your food. Well, and that's what happens in the click first to report world, is things come back. And I just
the other thing, man. You talk about hurting Peyton's legacy. We are now a society that doesn't we quickly forget the body of work and only remember what happened last.
Right.
And when you look at, if there's 100%. Ever been a coach that put together the unthinkable as his run at New Orleans was, nobody had ever. No. The Saints were the ones that had the bags on their head for so many years. So, but if this happens to be one of those things that stings and he can't get Denver turned around, then it's that'll be what you think about. Yeah. Now, the other side of that you have to look at, coaches have egos and coaches talk. Yes. And I mean, that's all part of
100%.
And whatever happened with him and Hackett. And I feel like Sean Payton ate his words and took it like a man when it was over. It didn't work out like he thought it would.
I mean, there's I dare say speak for everyone here, but there's 3 or 4 people that we all have, especially when we get in our 50s, that we really don't like.
Mm-hmm. It didn't take me that long.
Well, but I'm just giving an example. Mm-hmm. I mean, and you forgive and forget, and I say forget. You forgive people and just kind of that you feel like have wrong. And I'm talking third person here, right? But there's 3 or 4 people, in your life that you just really, really don't like and don't want to associate with, And I say, and again, I'm speaking generally here. But the problem is, if you say things about those people, it will come back and haunt you in some regard. Right. And so, I
would never be ugly to somebody that I don't really have a taste for.
I don't waste my energy on.
Okay. I'll be cordial, but that doesn't mean I want to hang out with them. And that doesn't mean I want to do anything with them or business transactions or anything like that. But I will be cordial because I think that's what you're supposed to do.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's, we all have those people. Like, I'm never going to not be pleasant.
Yeah.
The alternative would be just not to speak at all, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And that's okay too. But I'm not, because I'm not wasting my energy on people like that, right? You know what I'm saying? I'm investing my energy into, positive, sustainable things, right? But the point of all this is with Peyton, did he have something with Hackett before, or was he just being an analyst and giving his analytical opinion, which holds a lot of weight and value based on the success that he's had? You see what I'm saying? Like, how does that come in?
I'm not sure. How
does that come in?
That what he said from an analyst standpoint was wrong. That was an evaluation that he did.
Yes. The problem is he crossed the line in the coaching circuit.
Yeah.
That's the problem. He crossed the line because even though he was out at the time,
it wasn't like he was never going back. It wasn't like he was never going back.
And so, was he right in what he said? That's arguable, but the answer is probably yes in some degree. But do you cross it?
Mm-hmm.
And then the repercussions that come with that. If you try to make an evaluation on somebody that is popular with a group, and next thing you know, I mean, you can turn on the news, the narrative that's on daily, and every one of them have the same talking points. You hear the same words, out of 8 or 10 clips, right? The same narrative that's being spewed, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're finding that in sports, and I guess, in my opinion, that, again, just my opinion and just watching things, that may be why a couple of the sports channels are in trouble. Some of the shows that they tried to promote and push on us, every day had nothing to do with the sport. It had more to do with, I hate this person. This person's a racist. I hate this person. That people don't want to watch that in general. That's why they're suffering now, right? My thing is, give an analytical opinion, all right, and go with it. The social aspect of everything does not have to be involved in every second of every day. That's inputted into situations, right? It doesn't have to be. And you and I can't, we can't sit and watch anything without some kind of message coming up trying to tell me how I need to think.
Yeah.
And it's not education, it's narrative.
Yeah. You just have to be able to tune
that's
it
what
out.
I'm saying.
Yeah.
So that's why streaming has become popular.
I told somebody this morning, I watch very little news because if there's
not news.
If there's something that I need more information on, I go do my own research and get multiple opinions instead of listening to one
and try to figure it out.
Yeah,
well, that's the problem.
Yeah. Now let me address Milton's comment here. Milton said the Panthers need to forfeit the rest of their games. Now, Milton, I'm gonna give you some numbers here. I'm gonna give you some numbers here that's gonna blow your mind. Okay. The Panthers are not the lowest performing offense in scoring. Okay? They have scored 91. Need a pen?
Yep.
They have scored 91.
That's another topic I'm going to start ripping some rearing on here in a minute. Offense. All right, go ahead.
All right. The Giants have only scored 62. The Titans have only scored 88. The Bengals have only scored 83, and they were looked to be a Super Bowl contender, but they've got their quarterback back.
Things are picking up a little bit.
The Patriots have only scored 55.
They may not score again based on what I saw.
Now, so the Panthers are about 5 up the list. Now, let me give you the other thing as part of that, too. The Panthers are not the highest scoring differential in the league as far as points for, points against.
Who would that be?
That would be that would be your New York Giants.
Okay, that does make sense. Yeah, that
followed
makes sense.
by the Broncos.
Okay.
Followed by the Patriots. And then you get to the Carolina Panthers.
Okay.
Okay? Now, here's the one anomaly of it all. The Pittsburgh Steelers, who set first place in the AFC North,
it's unbelievable,
are tied with the highest point differential in the negative. They are minus 31, and so are the Cincinnati Bengals. And here's the interesting point. Seattle has more points against and more points for than Pittsburgh does. They just don't have the record. Yeah. So when you look at it, and I'll give you my take on this, okay? I watched – it was hard, but I watched the Panthers play.
Yep.
And I'm hearing people – I heard yesterday, are there Carolina Panther fans that are already out there starting to think, did we take the wrong one?
Of course.
Did we take the wrong one?
Of course.
I think, and they're talking about C.J. Stroud. If you swapped Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, I'm not sure that the situations would change because there's not enough talent around.
It has nothing to do with the quarterback.
You've got to do more. You can't just hang it on the quarterback. You can't do it. So
Laney, there's pass protection calls that go in up front. You know, it's not, and I know our listeners and viewers know this. It's not just what you see on TV. There is a body of work in about 8,000 different scenarios that go into each play that's called. And then it's changed at the line of scrimmage on the fly, and then the blocking assignments are called out, a lot of times by the center. The guard helps some, right? But they all work together based on what's being seen. The quarterback will call it out. Sometimes the running back on how he's positioned will let the wideouts know what's going to happen, as far as what they need to do and how they need to adjust. There's like 8,000 different scenarios. I say the problem. One of the biggest issues is, to your point, is the continuity and the flow of what's going on. Then they got to pick up, blitzes and, different looks and twists and stunts and, in and outs and, ghost nine rushing and all these things that go into, trying to formulate a play. This is and it leads into my rant. Okay. This is the problem with us as an NFL, and I say us because I'm involved in it every day as a fan, okay? I love football. Little kids that you and I do, which has been remarkable, by the way. I've had a great time with that. But all the way through high school, college, NFL, middle school, whatever. The problem is that we're not playing football. And people say, yes, we are. It's just innovative and things are happening. We are lower scoring in the NFL today with all of this new stuff than we are from years past when we had I formations, wing T sets, all these things. Now, younger generation, and they absolutely have valid opinion and approach to things. New innovation, new ideas, new things. That doesn't make anybody wrong or stupid or anything like that. This is the problem. When you try to install things at a higher pace, all right, it's kind of like pitching. Hitting always lags pitching, but eventually catches up to it. And then pitching has to change again and evolve, so hitting then has to catch back up again. It's been that way for 150 years. It's the same thing in football, Laney. Special teams are almost irrelevant now except for the punt. You say, well, the field goal team makes a – no, not really, okay, because of the low scoring issues. All right, it used to not be field goal was a big deal because you could drive the ball down and ram it down somebody's throat, keep them on that end of the field. You didn't have to kick a field goal. You score a touchdown. You get 6 points. The problem with all of this is the defenses are faster than the offenses. You have 5 people generally up front, plus sometimes a tight end, sometimes what they call an H-back or a former wing back. That's now an H-back, athletic fullback, right? Athletic tight end. You have those, but they're nowhere in comparison to the defensive side of the football with the ends and the inside and outside linebackers. The corners and the defensive ends are number one. That's who you've got to pick to be a formidable defense. You can build everything else with them because of the speed of the game. But if you have those two components, you have your edge covered. And that's where football has gone, is to the edge and not between the tackles. When football was between the tackles, we scored more points as an NFL. We're not doing that because it's not as fun, it's not as dynamic, it's not, you got mossed and all this. No, you just got trucked. I believe that's a segment we should start, watching somebody go in there and get plowed. You got trucked, right? This is the issue that for some reason is not being discussed, because the spread offense, which is a great innovative idea, especially when you can do the power spread where you run in between the tackles, is not being utilized because they are not as fast as the defensive players. Those 5 guys up front are nowhere as fast as that nose tackle. That nose tackle at 330 pounds can outrun everyone in son of a guns. Okay? Imagine the defensive ends. Look at the game last night with that 98 from the Raiders. Crazy son of a gun. He is incredible. It's like J.J. or T.J. Watt out there. My point to all this is, is that, we like all this dynamic stuff. We want all these dynamic quarterbacks to come in when things seem to go a little better when you lined up. And the only way to negate that speed is to smash it right in the mouth. That's the only way. You can't win.
I'm going to address that and tell you why that's not happening when we come back.
Whether it's a sit-down meal or a call-in for the drive-thru, Brookwood Cafe and Catering is the answer. A variety of meats, vegetables, and desserts cooked daily, or a hot sandwich from the grill, they have what you're looking for to satisfy your taste buds. If you need catering from 5 to 500, Brookwood has you covered as well. Stop by Brookwood Cafe and Catering at 202 Providence Mill Road in Maiden. Don't forget breakfast daily till 11 a.m. Open Tuesday 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., Wednesday through Saturday 6 a.m. till 8 p.m., and Sunday from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Call 828-428-8944 to place your order today.
If you ask around, you'll find Burke Mortuary has a reputation for excellence and commitment to value. They've built a reputation of trust for more than 35 years. Burke Mortuary is proud to offer personal attention, meaningful tributes, and the area's most affordable prices. They're also proud to offer you beautiful, state-of-the-art facilities. It's the perfect place to honor your loved one. So when choosing a funeral home, the choice is easy. Choose Burke Mortuary with locations in Maiden and Newton.
Covenant Church began as a vision of just over 100 people in 1984. Since then, Covenant Church has grown and currently located at 2168 Gastonia Highway in Lincoln. The Sunday schedule includes early morning worship at 8:30, Sunday school at 9:45, and morning worship at 10:45. Their ministries extend beyond Sunday. Visit their website at www.covenantchurch.church to see all they have to offer, and better yet, stop by and see for yourself. Covenant Church may be just what you're looking for a new church home. First Federal Savings Bank has been serving Lincoln County since 1940. And as it has been from the beginning, customer service is a priority to First Federal Savings Bank. They want to get to know you by name. First Federal Savings Bank has the convenience, the products, and the services that the larger banks have, but with hometown people that you see throughout your community. Stop in and visit one of their 4 convenient locations and see what First Federal Savings Bank has to offer you. Member FDIC, an equal housing lender.
Untangling your headphones, finding the right remote, saying goodbye to your favorite shirt that hasn't fit in 10 years. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with Auto Owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. Auto Owners works with independent agents who live in your community and answer when you call, so you can worry about more important things, like finding a new favorite shirt. That's simple human sense.
Call Mooney Insurance in Maiden or East Lincoln Insurance in Denver or visit mooneyinsurance.com. Stifel Nicholas now has an office in your community. Stifel Nicholas is a full-service organization offering a wide range of investment vehicles and services. These include money market funds, CDs, stocks, bonds, mutual funds, annuities, retirement plans, and managed accounts, to name a few. Our financial advisors will sit down with you and help you tailor an investment plan, explaining strategies and investments which may help you achieve your personal goals. Call 4Rembert today at 828-624-7300. Stifel Nicholas, member SIPC, and the New York Stock Exchange. All right, welcome back. All right, I'm going to dive right back in where 4 left off, okay? And I'm going to tell you from a fat man's perspective. I can speak to the fat boys up front, catch a couple comments, and then I'll give you that. People blowing us up this morning.
You know what I started doing for the show?
What?
Taking a spoonful of cayenne pepper with my water.
That's good.
Because it opens blood flow and thins your blood out. It's really good. I feel great.
I use Plavix for that. It does the same thing.
Richie
says, I think Peyton hasn't gotten the issue straight in the locker room. I watched Wilson walk by and Peyton while he was talking to him. I saw that as well.
Oh, dude, I know.
Milton says, I think Wilson is toxic in the locker room.
That could potentially be the issue.
But their quarterback has the lowest rated QBR above Gardner Minshew, the mustache. Milton said, Carolina looks like a dysfunctional crowd.
They are.
It looks like 11 individuals and not a team. I agree. Richie said, I've heard that the Panthers are looking to find a receiver. Well, it's like fantasy football. You can't find one. There's not enough to go around. Todd feels like the Panthers took the wrong coach. In his opinion, they had the right guy but didn't give him the opportunity.
I really like Steve Wilkes, and I like what he stood for, and I thought he was, would be great for the city of Charlotte, the continuity. I know what Todd's talking about because I had a lot of those same feelings. I don't dislike Frank Reich, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm okay with that if they're not going to go with Wilkes. He needs some time because there are years of stuff that's got to be worked out.
But the problem was we spent an additional 3 years digging the hole deeper with Matt Rule.
Well, but
you got nothing over Steve Wilkes
from day one. Yeah. And what was it all predicated on? Offense. I'm sorry, we're not scoring points in NFL.
Yeah.
And the only way, listen, Reidsville in 2A football was very big and very fast.
Mm-hmm.
But they ran into a juggernaut in the state championship at East Duplin because East Duplin did not run the ball one time. Well, I say one time, maybe 1 or 2 times, outside of tackles. So they negated that speed.
Yeah.
That is my point.
Yeah.
Who does it right? The Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, Jalen Hurts doesn't need anybody to push him. He can squat over 600 pounds. He's the second strongest guy at Alabama when he was there, okay? He doesn't need that. So when they change the rule this year, it ain't going to matter because Philadelphia's got the scrum figured out, and it works for them. Mm-hmm. If you get 2 to 3 yards per play, why do you care? Why not just – look, what do we do with our kids?
I know. Ain't pretty.
We go with the Bulls package. We line up. And we mash them right in the mouth. We form the wedge, and we go.
Yeah.
And, lady, we've gotten a couple touchdowns off of that from 20, 30 yards out and then several two-point conversions.
Something just springs out.
But you know what I'm saying, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when we play a team that's faster than us, we negate the speed.
Mm-hmm.
We keep between the tackles.
Richie
and
said,
along with your great defensive coaching.
You're right.
No, I'm serious.
Richie said Crosby's a beast. He has a history of addiction and recovery.
He
Good
does,
story.
And he looks a little crazy. And I think that's what makes him even even more, and I hope he's, able to recover from that. Yeah. I mean, obviously we all do, but he is incredible.
Milton said a receiver's not going to help little Bryce Young. He has no time to get rid of the ball. He's running for his life. He'll be injured before long. That's where the offensive line comes in. Now, I've got those comments. Now, let me tell you my theory on why the NFL scoring has gone down and why they're making rule changes. They're making rule changes to make the offense more productive because they refuse to change the makeup of the offensive line.
Correct.
You got to get away from these 350-pound road graders that you used to have, and you're going to have to put another athlete against the athlete on the other side of the ball. You talk about, well, I can power through them. Mm-hmm. If they're so fast that you can't get a pad on them, you can't power through them. And you watch it, and we've seen it in some of the stuff that we do, getting beat on the backside because you're slow. You can't get anything done. So I think that the Panthers in particular have to upgrade the offensive line. Moton might make a right tackle. He was not a left tackle.
Yeah.
The kid that came from State, I'm not impressed. I can't pronounce his name. Nothing racial about it. I just can't pronounce his name. But they've got so much work to do and so many needs in so many places. They did such a good job at one time. They would build these huge defenses with lots of money, but they kept forgetting, I got to build the offensive side too.
Think about how good the Panthers were.
If you're a mastermind at offense, like a Shanahan, a Kyle Shanahan, you might could do a little bit better. The Panthers, I think, got the right quarterback. They just have so many issues at so many places, and I think Frank Reich is the right coach. He's the best head coach, in my opinion, that has been brought in since the Panthers were there.
You like him better than Fox?
Yes.
I'm just
Fox
I'm
was
just thinking,
Fox.
I'm
Was I told
thinking,
you? Was an 8-minute drive, kick a 3-point field goal, and play defense.
Didn't
3.5 quarters. Huh?
Didn't they go to Super Bowl when he's coaching?
Yep.
Kind of what we were talking about a while ago.
But he couldn't generate enough offense to make it happen. Well, but don't start telling me the Patriots were filming and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So what's interesting about San Francisco, and you brought up Shanahan, that's a great point, is as good as their offense is, what has he built? Because he knows that defense is incredible. It's incredible.
But he has not.
It's incredible.
He's not shorted one side of the ball in favor of the other to get there.
See, I think it's actually enhanced his offense.
It's kind of done it like this. He's made little gains on both sides so they can keep
up. And they want
to
play there for him. And you and I were talking off air. We should purchase the access.
That's right.
Yeah. But McCaffrey is actually a compliment to Samuel and not the other way around. Mm-hmm. So when he was brought in, it increased the dynamics. Now, now they can run inside zone with two different guys. Well, you can't stack the box when they do that because all he's got to do is pull it out and throw it right there to the other one. It's very interesting how Shanahan has done this. Like you're talking about, he climbed the ladder one step at a time instead of hanging off saying, hey, look at me, and trying to get a click. I don't know. They're by far right now the best team in the NFL. I thought Dallas a couple weeks ago, as well as they were playing. But Michael Parsons last night was or not last night, but Sunday night, was irrelevant in that game. How does that happen? He's one of the best players in football. He is. Defensive players in football. The thing, too, Lanny, about them changing the rules in offense, that was a great point. No matter how much they change the rules to skew it, they keep elevating the defense. They're actually doing the opposite of what needs to be done in order to increase scoring, because now you're seeing more physical, faster, bigger corners that are playing the game where years ago they may be considered safeties or even outside linebackers. These guys can run. Mm-hmm. There's an issue. There's a major issue.
Well, and the other thing that I brought up when we were talking off the air, and I don't think you can do this, even though I wished you could. I wish that positions had a pay scale to some extent.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're always going to make more money as a defensive lineman than an offensive lineman. But if the money was the same, you would have guys that would play offense more than defense or just as much, because as an offensive lineman, there's easier ways to do it than you play defense. Defense is a dead sprint every time. In the NFL, you're blocking. You're blocking and recoiling. Yeah. You're not in that dead sprint. Defensive players are taught to be their best in a 10-yard span. That's what they've got to be. They've got to be full speed at their best in a 10-yard span. One of the things that I found was unusual, and it was last night, if I'm not mistaken, 2 big downfield linemen, illegal linemen downfield. And one of them got overturned by replay, which I was really excited to see because replay could see he did not go down. He did not break that area, which that's what it should have been. Just get it right. I don't care how you do it. Just get it right.
I wish they'd do away with all of it.
No.
Yeah, I do.
No. Yeah. You just want to get it right. I think there's too much money involved with gambling now that you've got to have an oversight.
That's why we got it.
You got to have an oversight.
I don't like it. There's the humanistic side. I mean, at some point you will see things evolve back where you don't have, kind of like high school football. It's very intriguing to a lot of people because you don't have replay. They have to be on top of things. Mm-hmm. I don't know.
I'll switch gears. Your Atlanta Braves won last night. They were dismal. I watched that. It was 4-0 when I flipped it off because it was time for the football game. But the Braves came back. Yeah. Double play caps a Game 2 comeback as they beat the Phillies 5-4. Now, do they alternate games here? Home, away, home, away? Or has Atlanta been at home for 2 games? And then they'll go to Philly for 2 games and then back to Atlanta for Game 5 is needed. I think that's the way that it works. If Atlanta had gotten down two games, that could have been tough. All right, Wednesday, they are at Philadelphia, and they don't have the rest of the schedule up, but there will be a Friday game because there has to be because they're 1-1. It's a best of 5.
Were they? They were at Atlanta on Monday, which was yesterday.
Mm-hmm. And then on Saturday, they were at Atlanta. 2-1.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
See, I couldn't remember. The reason I was saying that, I didn't get to see it on Sunday, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't remember if they went, like the 2-2-1 or the, the one, just back and forth because it's right there. But it makes more sense to, from a logistics standpoint, to do the 2-2-1.
It's always now when they travel. Will it still just be one day, or will they go 2 days? It'll just be one day because they're playing again.
Yeah, the next day. So they'll
Wednesday.
play, and then they'll take a day off and then play. And
even when they travel, they're still going to take a day off. Because Wednesday, it is Atlanta at Philadelphia.
And they'll play again back-to-back, and then they'll –
But see, they didn't play the first game back-to-back.
If they travel – well, it's because of Monday Night Football – or not Monday Night Football. It's because of college
no, they played Saturday, I guess, for the NFL.
Right. And they play on Sunday, and they play Monday. Yeah,
they're at Philadelphia on Thursday. Philadelphia tomorrow, 7:05, and 6:05 on Thursday. And then we'll just have to see what happens after that.
They'll take off and then go.
And then they'll
I just, baseball has gotten to a point where, for me, I like the players, and I think there's a lot of good things going on. But 3 or 4 years ago, I got really disheartened by a lot of stuff that they were doing. Mm-hmm. And then kind of the way that the game has changed, I'm not really as big a fan of implementing rules to circumvent a defense. I think you should be able to stand wherever the heck you want to stand. If a hitter shows you a tendency, strategy is the whole part of the game. And, for people that may feel differently, it's the hitter's job to hit the baseball. If they only hit it in one place, that's their problem. I'm placing my defense where they hit it. And maybe the hitter should learn to go the other way. Yeah, but that's not what makes them a great hitter. Well, they're only great if you limit the chances of catching the ball when they hit it. Mm-hmm. So is that really greatness? No, that's appeasement, which is indicative of society for the last 2,000 years, in particular the last 30.
Have they changed?
It's ridiculous.
Is it being mandated from above the players where they hit the ball? Like, for example, is the emphasis not being put on players to be able to hit the ball wherever they want to?
No.
Everything's just about power, and whichever way it goes on the power it goes.
Yeah, but most of the power is, middle pull, right? There's very few backside guys anymore. And I'm not saying that's right or wrong. What I'm saying is why would you make a defensive rule to limit catching the ball? Because the hitter only hits it. That makes no sense to me. Now, from an excitement standpoint, well, what have they done? They made the bases bigger. Look, just play baseball. You have 9 guys in the field. Those 9 guys hit. Play baseball. This is, DH. I love a home run as much as anybody. I want to see offense, but I don't like the DH. A lot of people say, I don't see a pitcher hit. Oh, that's fine, but that's not baseball. It is in the modern era. You got to – no problem with adaptation.
What?
From a skill set standpoint, not an inflection, all right, of ridiculous – unantiquated. I'm not even going to go into these words.
DH, when did the DH come about, and at what levels is the DH allowed?
Well, I mean, it started in the American League many,
Yeah. Is it allowed in college and high school?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know because
now, in high school baseball, have no problem with that. Little League, have no problem with that. I even like extra hitters. I'm all about providing kids that play the game, all right, not only for recreation but also for competition, that are not subsidized in any way. I want them to play and have opportunity to enjoy the game. I have no problem with that. All right, in football, there's no restriction on how you line your defense up except in the Pro Bowl. Well, when they used to play the Pro Bowl, or in the Shrine Bowl. You have to run this defense. You can't do that. Okay, you only got a week. I get it. But for a team, if I want to run a 2-7, I can do that. If I want to run a 6-1, I can do that. Why would you do that in baseball? Why would you make the bases bigger? Why don't you just start enforcing the rules of the game?
Well,
why do you say?
A lot of times that's the problem. We make adaptations. We make adaptations instead of.
You're picking on me by enforcing the rules
instead of playing by the rules.
Yeah. Well, I mean, think about it in every facet.
Yeah, I agree.
You're picking on me. No, you were doing something that is borderline illegal, or breaking the law. Same thing in the sport. You're doing something borderline. You're tippy-toeing on the integrity of the foundation that was built to provide a quality, safe playing surface and atmosphere, much like in the world. But you're picking on me. Okay. Now, do you have umpires that take it to the extreme? 100%. I've had guys, I've had great relationships, and I've had some that I'd soon, talk to them after the game privately in a field with nobody around.
Right.
Okay? Giving me attitude, saying, hey, I need to talk to you for a minute. Going, man, get back, stuff like that. I mean, why? This whole, you've seen where sports have gone. And instead of, saying, look, there's a person in charge of running the game. There are 2 teams and a couple, several coaches that are in charge of managing and playing the game. You have oversight with the officials, stay within the rules, and play the game.
Yeah.
But what does everybody do? Oh, he's picking on me. He said I got to hurry up my pitch count. You're being. I mean, it has nothing to do with that. If you're being if you're being ridiculous, you're being ridiculous. If you throw over to first base 18 times, I'm calling a balk.
Yeah.
On one of them because that's ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, the whole thing is
ridiculous.
The whole thing is some of the rules they've implemented I do like, because then nobody can say that you were doing it one way or the other. A lot of times, as you said, we're not implementing and applying the rules to all situations, and they've had to make some changes.
But again, we're not dealing in truth here. We're dealing in appeasement.
Yeah.
And that is what will crumble things. How did Rome fall? There were 3 ways. 2 of them I'm not going to go into on the obviously. But, there was too much focus on everything except what was most important to keep things together.
If you're not sure, watch the movie Gladiator.
Well, I mean, that's why, it's always said that democracies fall, after a couple hundred years. Thank God we're a constitutional republic, and we're not a democracy.
Yeah.
Even that's all we hear, keep democracy alive. Like that. No. What's happened is that same philosophy in sports has now become democratized instead of, constitutionalized through a republic, right?
Yep.
Because you have checks and balances in a republic. You don't have so much. You have just majority in democracy, right? Well, that's what's happening in our sports is things are being based on a democracy-type attitude instead of and look what's being done to defense in football like we talked about.
Yep.
Look what's being done to defense in baseball like we talked about.
Yep. No, you're
Everything intertwines based on, feelings and appeasement. And that is ridiculous. People's social and emotional health, whether they're a NFL player, a college player of lacrosse, that is very important. But when we talk, you hurt my feelings and I can't look. Nobody cares.
Yep.
Maybe except your mommy, and that's okay. And most of the moms on our team, I know, because either taught them or have coached them or know where they don't much care about their kids' feelings. Kind of like Mandy and our boys.
They just want
she cares about their social and emotional health. Yes.
Yep.
And this is what's happened. This is a byproduct of give them this, give them that. When you give somebody something without them earning it, and there's no repercussion on the backside, the relationship will crumble. It'll eventually crumble, right? You just can't give and just give freely to think to people that don't have any kind of retribution. I don't mean in a bad way. I'm talking about skin in the game, right? Something in there.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening. Our offenses in the NFL are indicative of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody might watch this and say, well, yeah, he didn't know this, that, and the other. Listen, it's just an opinion, but it's an educated one.
Right.
And it's discussions with you, many of the friends we got that listen, watch. And Lanny, it's just, at what point? There are times that I question, do I want my kids to go on and play at the next level?
Yeah.
Thank God my kid's at a great school with, great people and very good coaches that care about them personally instead of just what they can do for them.
Right.
And Quinn, transfer portal, all that stuff, that's always an option for kids and whatever, but it's not an out for them. They need to go in and work.
The portal needs to be there to increase your opportunity, not because you couldn't get along or you didn't get what you wanted where you were at.
Talked to a player that's a freshman that went to one of the local schools. I say local, within a couple hours here, right? Saw him in a game. And he looks at me and says, Coach, I displayed my skills and showed them what I can do, and they just don't see my skills. I'm going to go somewhere else. And Caleb happened to be at the game. And he going through a lot.
Mm-hmm.
It's a few weeks ago, and I said, before you do that, I want you to talk to that guy right there. Caleb turned around and said, "Boy, you got a ball. What you need to do is ball. You don't need to worry about all that other stuff. You need to stay there and ball."
I have always said this,
which was great advice, and I was so grateful that he was there because Caleb is still young enough, right, to connect with that younger generation. Where I'm just an old guy now that truly has their best.
I have always said 99% of people that coach will not overlook people that can truly play and be coachable.
Yeah.
They're going to play you. Right. I mean, because they want to win. They want to win.
Yeah.
They're not just going to say, well, no, that guy's he don't have what it takes. If you have what it takes, you may transfer and go to another school and you still don't have what it takes.
That's okay.
At some point, you got to look at what you are.
Well, Lanny, your level of play will always find you.
Right. That's right.
I mean, it happened to me personally.
Yeah.
I get out of high school, have opportunities for, potential, pro stuff. Going to East Carolina, get hurt. I've had 2 knee operations in high school. I have 2 more in college. My level of play eventually caught up with me where I could still compete on that level, but I couldn't excel. So that was it for me. I didn't want to go to a low level just to play. Like mine is, we're all different.
Same way.
And you've been that way your whole life. You could have played at a lower level with the back injury and been very, been successful, right, had you stay healthy.
Yep.
I could have too with even ACLs.
Nope.
But the issue is it's about, the challenge, and are you excelling in that, and at what point? Because you're either growing or you're dying, right?
Yep.
And I just think that this whole thing, and Juju gave a great number on the portal about how many in and out, how many get picked up. But that doesn't mean that they don't go play somewhere.
But that's going to work itself out because everybody's going to find out it's not the great answer they're looking for. They're going to find out once they hit that portal and they make that move, wait a minute, nothing changed. It's got to be them. No, somewhere you got to look at yourself and say, if it happened to me twice, maybe I've got something to do with it. And that's where you got to have the self-reflection that you got to look back
So
at.
what I want them to do, and I don't care if it's NCAA or a new committee that's formed, kind of like the High School Athletic Association, right? I don't care about all that. I don't care what they're going to do and this, that, and the other. What I want is consistency, okay? And whoever's running it, right? And they're going to make mistakes and, maybe do things that, me or you or other people may agree or disagree. That's okay. But, you can't just do something for appeasement. There has to be truth behind what you're doing. It can't be to scratch somebody else's back because you owe them something, okay? Because it's going to crumble and it's going to fall back in your face.
It's a short-term fix, but it doesn't have any longevity.
Well, that's that's exactly what I'm trying to say. You have to, when you're coaching, I don't care how much money you're making or not making, your job is to serve. Okay? The coach at Miami, the reason the players like him so much is because he is real with them. This guy looks like he needs to be reading in a book, okay, and have a pocket protector in, all right? And I'm being funny here because I watched a skit on this and they were, but the players like him because he is real with them. He's got a good sense of humor. He has issues in his life that he's had to overcome and still works on every day, with things personally, with alcoholism and other things. But he's real with them, and he tells them the truth. And everything he does, he speaks in truth with them.
Yep.
And he lets them know, I'm not perfect either, but this is what we have to do to try to be that way. We're never going to be perfect. We want to try to be that way, and this is what we got to do. And people may say, yeah, but would they feel the same if he was 0-5 and doing this? The reason he's not 0-5 is because of what he does.
But
so
you would like to think that they would have the same.
Well, yeah,
opinion.
but the reason that he's not going to fail like that is because of the way that he approaches what he does. It's like Shanahan.
Yeah,
we can look at coaches that we believe are average that just get X amount of wins a year, and then that's supposed. There's a stat with the Steelers that's really good, but is it? Or is it just perspective? I don't know.
Yeah. No.
I don't know.
Let me give you some rundown. It's finally happened. We've got Tuesday night football tonight and a huge game in Boone. Right. Coastal Carolina goes to App State. That game is sold out. I saw it yesterday. You can catch it on ESPN2 at 7:30. Liberty at Jacksonville State on the U, and Louisiana Tech at Middle Tennessee at 7 on CBS Sports Network. Then tomorrow night, UTEP at Florida International, Sam Houston at New Mexico State. Thursday night, West Virginia at Houston, and SMU at your East Carolina Pirates down in Dowdy-Fickle Stadium. Friday night is Tulane versus Memphis, Fresno State versus Utah, Stanford versus Colorado. That should be a good one in Boulder. It's a 10 o'clock game. Start. Yeah. Well, but it's 7 o'clock there. So.
No, it's at 8 o'clock.
They're just 2 hours?
Yeah, they're mountain time. But the cool part is, Lanny, is I think they purposely did that for a couple of reasons. Number one, East Coast, it still keeps them engaged because people are getting home from high school football or from just an evening of whatever, and it's 10 o'clock. So they're going to at least get an hour and a half of viewership. So that's good. And everybody likes, prime, man.
Couple questions before I ask you a baseball question. Oregon takes on Washington. That's number 8 versus number 7, 3:30 at Husky Stadium. And number nothing, Texas A&M travels to Knoxville to take on Tennessee. Could
upset alert?
You think so?
Yes, sir.
Or is Jimbo in trouble?
Upset alert.
Okay, there you got it right here. Florida travels to South Carolina. That's a game. Wake Forest at Virginia Tech. Just a couple highlight games going through here. Not a lot of ranked matchups.
I think the Auburn-LSU game will be a little better than what we think. I think it'll be a little better.
Okay.
No. The thing at Auburn is you know, they are a couple of – LSU is very unpredictable. They're Jekyll and Hyde in everything they do. Like, for them to win that game this past weekend, the other team had to lose it. Yeah. And they did.
And
I don't know.
A couple big games coming up.
They may beat them by 50, just like Tennessee might. I'm just saying that when you look at things from a dynamic standpoint, it could quickly go the other way.
Southern Cal travels to South Bend, take on Notre Dame. That is a I hate you game. Everybody in those two schools hate each other.
So USC is going to win that game.
I think so, too.
By 20 points.
I don't think it's close. I'll be honest. I don't think it's close. And I think after this weekend, the Tar Heels may have their hands full with the Hurricanes when they come to Chapel Hill.
I don't know.
Could be a trap game for the Tar Heels.
They got some issues in Miami.
Your Missouri Tigers travel to Kentucky.
Upset alert.
I hate Drinkowitz.
But I'm telling you, Missouri has got a great back. That kid looks like Dash on The Incredibles. I mean, he is everywhere.
All right. How about UCLA at Oregon State? That's number 18 taking on number 15.
Oregon State's going to win that by 30.
Another upset alert, maybe. NC State at Duke. Duke wins?
I love, and a former player, Ethan Rhodes.
Yeah.
Is at State. Love Ethan. Want him to do well. Let me tell you something. The way they lost to number 10, okay, they're going to fix that. Now, their quarterback may or may not be playing, but with that offense, I don't think it really matters because the problem is NC State's got to score.
Yeah.
Against that defense, shoot, wow.
Could be tough.
It's crazy. It's crazy. Now, again, with the Tennessee thing and all, you know, Tennessee and Texas A&M. I mean, Tennessee could very easily beat them by 30. But the players that Texas A&M has, if anything starts going momentum-wise their way, they could make that jump on any given Saturday. I'm not talking about for a whole season, but on any given Saturday with the tight, dynamic athletes they've got, they just have none of this. And I don't know if, you know, sometimes in a dysfunctional situation, I don't know if bringing in more dysfunction or the appearance of it from times past has really helped A&M a whole lot. They brought in, you know, offensive coordinator who was a former SEC coach and coach at Louisville and maybe had some issues going on. That's fine. You know, most of the stuff was off the field. But it's already dysfunctional. I don't know how adding more dysfunction. It was kind of like, when everybody wanted Antonio Brown. You know, the only ones that could pretty much keep him where he needed to be were the Patriots, right? And then he went down to had a great situation going down to, down to Tampa Bay and lost his mind. You know, I don't know if bringing I tell you, man, quality and value, there's, the Navy SEALs don't take the most athletic, most crazy, person, in there that can just do anything, right? They start with dependability and then raise the bar from there as far as the other parts go. Maybe you do it that way if you're building a team.
Let me give you some lineups for NFL coming up this week. Denver at Kansas City, Baltimore at Tennessee, Washington at Atlanta. One of the most disappointing teams for me this year, Minnesota at Chicago.
Yeah, it's been tough.
San Francisco at Cleveland. Your Carolina Panthers travel to the Hard Rock in Miami. It's Indianapolis at Jacksonville. New Orleans at Houston, New England at Las Vegas. I think that's another loss for the Patriots.
I don't know,
It's
man.
the Cardinals at the
Chargers.
Is that the Chargers? Oh, they confuse me with their helmets. Philadelphia travels to the Jets. Detroit is at Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay.
And the hapless Giants travel to Buffalo.
Upset alert.
And then Dallas at the Chargers. That's a Monday night game. And I'm not so sure Dallas can pull that one out.
So the Rams are playing I can't read it.
Cardinals.
The Rams are playing the Cardinals. The Chargers are playing the
Cowboys
on Monday
night.
Yeah, Dallas will beat them by 30.
No, they won't. All right, that's going to wrap it up for us for today. Be sure to tune in. We'll be back here. We're back here Thursday?
Yeah.
We're back here Thursday. See you then.